Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirit. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you once again for tuning in this week. You're in for an action-packed show this week because today's subject matter, we're going to be talking about what's the story. Now, I'll fill you in with the details in a moment, what that represents. But also in today's show, we have the channeling from the world of spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel for spirit to communicate their information through. And then later on in the show, we have your weekly energy forecast reading for this week. So hopefully that will help you navigate your way through this week ahead. But let's go back and let's talk about what we're talking about today. So which is, what's the story? So what do I mean by that? I'm talking about communicating respectfully with spirit and finding out their story. And in many cases, this can be very, very healing for them, helping them to make their transition into the world of light. So that's what we're talking about today. So with this in mind, communicating with spirit, obviously I'm talking to those of you out there that are sensitive, that either are mediums, or you just pick up on spirit, you're able to communicate with them. And so it's kind of directed, the conversation is in that sector there, and helping these individuals to move over back home. And so when you are communicating with spirit, obviously you want to show that level of deep respect. Just imagine somebody talking to you. How would you like them to talk to you? Would you like them to shout at you and shout expletives at you in order for you to do something? Or would you sooner have somebody talk at a gentle, calm manner, in a loving, respectful manner, allowing you to speak and communicate back, giving you space in the conversation? Or would you sooner have somebody, like I say, shout at you aggressively in order to get a response? I know which one I would prefer. And so you want to show that level of respect with spirit, no matter if they're showing up in the form of negative energy, or whether they're swearing at you, because some of these spirits are quite frustrated, as you can imagine. If you've been trapped for centuries in the same location and you can't find a way out, there's going to be that level of frustration there, isn't there? And so you've got to kind of understand that that's where a lot of these souls are at, and they may have previous hurts, previous attachments to the environment that you're in at the time when you meet them. So you've got to kind of understand where they're coming from and still show that level of respect regardless of what they're saying to you. So with this in mind, having that level of respect, you want to introduce yourself to the spirit in question, wherever you're at, whatever location you're in. And obviously you want to let them know who you are, what you do and why you're there, and that you mean them no harm, and actually vocalize that you're there to show them that respect, and you're there to help them if they require that help. And so when you introduce yourself like that and then leave spaces in your communication with spirit, when I say communication, I'm talking to about you using your gift of clairaudience and communicating through your spiritual gifts, through your mind there. You can vocalize this, obviously, if you want to. You will get feedback, whether that will be in the form of pictures. It could be in the form of, like I say, clairaudience. It could be clairvoyance. It could be clairsentience. You might get a feeling, an emotional feeling that reminds you of a particular time in your life. And that might be the easiest route in which the soul can communicate their story through to you. So with this in mind, pay attention to all of your senses whilst you are communicating with spirit. But when you've introduced yourself, again, leave that space in the conversation for them to respond and just notice all of your spiritual gifts and abilities as they do this. A great tool that I use when I'm doing this is I try and find something in common, some common ground in the conversation with the spirit, like you would when you're communicating with somebody on the earth plane, somebody you've never met before. You're wanting to make that bond, aren't you? So you're looking and you're listening for that common ground where you can interject into the conversation to make that bond a little bit stronger. And this is no different with spirit. So you're wanting to, at least if they are from, like I say, a different century, 9 times out of 10, they would have loved, they would have lost, they would have had to eat, they would have had to look after themselves, they would have ate certain foods. And you could kind of base your conversation around there, like, oh, do you like, what food did you have? Oh, I like that food, that sort of thing. So you can level up with them in that respect. And so it's good to build that bond up with spirit, as this will help you to help them help themselves. And what I mean by that is they're going to unfold a little bit more to you, because they're going to want to, once they've built that bond up with you, they're going to want to open up a little bit more. And your job then is to listen. Listen unconditionally. Don't have any judgment. Just listen. And once they've said their story to you, you can then interject, and you can then comment upon those situations that they've gone through, showing that level of empathy for them, but also not feeling sorry, because that would keep the energy, the vibration low. So you're wanting to transmute that energy, what they're communicating, into positive energy. So you could turn the conversation round, like by saying, oh, I bet you learnt a lot from doing that, didn't you? And then they'd interject with you, well, actually, yeah, I did learn. I learned how to do this, and I learned not to speak in that way. I learned how not to behave in that way. And you see, you're giving them that space to interject, but also there's a level of reverse psychology whilst you're doing this, because you're giving them that opportunity to actually clear their energy, clear those attachments that they have to that either environment, that place, or just that emotional link that they have with people that resided in that place where you're at that moment in time. So by having this line of inquiry, almost like you're a counselor, almost, you're a spiritual counselor. So you're giving them that space to understand, you're giving them that space to communicate openly and freely. And by doing this, it's going to be really beneficial for them, because they're going to see the lessons, like I've already said, in that situation, which in turn, when we do that on the earth plane, for example, the penny finally drops, doesn't it? And we release those old energies, those cords that have kept us stuck, that have kept us in that frequency band. And in many respects, that's what we're achieving by doing this, having this conversation with them in this manner. Now, what they do is you follow it. It can be any length of time, this conversation that you're having with them. It can be anything from 1 minute to 30 minutes. It can be even over the course of an evening, spits and spats, that you have this conversation with these souls. Because sometimes they do find it a little bit uncomfortable, and they'll retreat. And then as you're looking around the location, they'll come back to you, and they'll extend that conversation you had previously. So don't give up on them. That is one thing. Don't give up on them. They will be intrigued by what you have to offer and by your vibration. And in actual fact, they will be attracted to the light vibration of you as well, because they'll be wanting to find their way home. And finally, your light enters their location, and they see that as a way out, a way back home. So with that being the case, 9 times out of 10, they will gravitate towards you. So don't give up on these souls, even if they break from the conversation and then come back to you during the course of your either investigation or your evening. Just carry on where you left off. Again, don't have that element of judgment for them. Just show that level of respect and keep that respect there going, and also that inquiring mind. But what you will find when you do carry on with the conversation, you can dive a little bit deeper, talking about what they enjoy, what they love. That's your primary goal, really, of being that bridge, of being that vessel in order to help them move over to the world of light, to move back home. Your job is to heighten their frequency, heighten their vibration, but they've got to arrive at that decision themselves. You can't say, right, I'm taking you over now. Well, you can, but it wouldn't be right, would it? It wouldn't be right. You've got to ask them. You've got to help them to help themselves. So talking about things that they enjoy, what they love doing. It could be football, it could be horse racing, depending on what sort of century they're from. It could be anything. It could be arts, crafts, it could be family members, it could be a lost love. And there's something that could bring up quite a lot of emotion actually with them. Talking about a lost love, say, for example, if that soul is searching for their soulmate and can't seem to find them anywhere, and there's that element of frustration. So when you go into this conversation with them, talking about their love, their partner there, and they're opening up, turn the conversation round and say, well, why did you like them? Why did you fancy them? And they'll tell you, and then they'll raise their vibration. They'll get a bit excited as they go down memory lane, and you can ask them how they met, what their first date was like, and all of that. And whilst you're doing this with them, obviously, you're bringing back those memories with them. You're bringing back those positive memories, which is going to in turn heighten their vibration, and it's going to remove that block that's been stopping them from reconnecting with that loved one in the world of light, in spirit. And so what you're doing, you're allowing them to heal themselves by them telling their own story to you. You're just like I say, a spiritual counselor, and you're just sort of navigating them through the process so that they can make their own choice using their own free will in order to heighten their vibration. Now, when they've reached that state of their vibration is heightened, 9 times out of 10, what I've experienced doing these soul rescue works is that all of a sudden they'll start and see that individual who they're describing, who they're talking about, who they have that fond, loving memory, and they'll be standing either right in front of them or at the side of them, and they'll break away from the conversation from you, and they'll start talking to them. Now, at this stage, don't interject, don't intervene, just listen in on the conversation, because it's a beautiful experience to witness, because they're actually making that reconnection with that soul. They can actually visualize them, they can see them, they can touch them, and they reunite simply because they have shifted their energy, their vibration, to the vibration of where they can have that interaction with their loved one. They are no longer lost, they are found. And usually, in my experience, at this point in the rescue, you'll find that Archangel Michael and the Band of Mercy will start and come in, and they will take that lost soul over into the world of light. And it will happen very quickly, very swiftly as well. And I've witnessed several times when they are taken over, you can hear like almost as if they're talking down a tunnel from the distance, and that soul will say, "Thank you," and you can hear it. Or sometimes if you've managed to navigate a spirit over by having this dialogue with them, Archangel Michael does come in and he takes them over at that point where their vibration is heightened to the right frequency. And I've had on occasions where certain individuals have swore back at me, "You beep," and simply because it shocked them. They didn't expect to be going over that quick. And it's simply because they've made that conscious choice. They've raised their conscious vibration, and it's allowed that process to take place. So it's a beautiful experience to be part of, and to witness doing this soul rescue. But again, it all pivots around you asking them what their story is. Like I say, almost like a spiritual counselor, having that interest with non-judgment and directing the questions in a positive manner so that they can see the blessings in their own situation that they've been through. But what you will find when they have been taken over back home into the world of light by Archangel Michael is a shift and change in the atmosphere, in the environment where you're at, in the physical environment, in the earth realm dimension. You'll notice that that room or that location will start to feel a lot bigger, more spacious. It will feel more comfortable. You'll notice a sense of peace, and there won't be that thick sort of tense feeling in the atmosphere that there was before. You'll just feel it. You'll notice it straight away. It will be so obvious to you. And those that do not work with spirit or communicate will also notice that that room feels a lot bigger, feels spacious. It doesn't feel like they're being pushed down on energetically on their shoulders. You'll all just recognize it. But when it's reached this stage, this is where you reach out to Archangel Michael, again communicating either verbally or in your mind, and you thank them for helping with this rescue. You also thank your spirit guides as well for allowing you to make this connection with these spirit individuals and to hear their story. Because if you think about it, your spirit guides and helpers are bridging that connection. They're helping you to interpret the messages from that spirit communicator. And this will happen in various ways. Obviously, they will use the path of least resistance. So, you know, if you're particularly good at using your clairvoyance, so the images that you see in your mind's eye, then they will use that as a means of communicating with you using symbology. And you would have to work that out in order to unpick their story. But then again, if you're particularly good with clear audience, they will communicate with you directly, or clear sentience. They will put those emotions on you. And like I said earlier, it may be emotions that you've experienced before within your life. And first of all, you'll think, well, why am I feeling this? This doesn't make sense. But actually, it's the path of least resistance, isn't it? It's that spirit communicator telling you their story, likening it to one of your previous stories. And it's your job then to just reiterate and refresh and share those memories. And in doing that, that will in turn be them sharing their story through you. So pay attention to all of these things. Very important when you're doing the soul rescue work. So as ever, I'd love to give you some examples where I've experienced and had some encounters like this myself. One particular event that I did, I say event, it was more like a private consultation with a client in their home. And this was in Lincoln, in Lincolnshire. And it looked like a normal standard townhouse there. You wouldn't know anything was going on until you walked into the property. And then you could feel a difference in atmosphere. You just felt like an oppressive feeling, a feeling of like somebody's been overthinking in their mind too much. You could just feel that energy in the environment. And there was a couple of spirits actually that were stuck in that environment. But one of them that sticks in my mind is an elderly gentleman that upon communicating with me, let me know that he actually, that was his house, and he was sat there in the chair, and I saw him in the chair. He was reading the racing results and the football on a newspaper. He was sitting in front of an old television that looked like it could have been from the 1970s, that sort of, with a wooden surround. And he was sat there. This is a spirit gentleman I'm referring to. And anyway, when it came to showing that respect, I said hello, and I said why I was there and if I could help. And he was quite adamant, no, I'm all right, I'm just picking a winner, in the paper. It was in that sort of time frame, that time loop where this is something that he enjoyed doing. But there was a level of frustration with them upon having more conversations with him. First of all, he was, why do you want to know? He was a little bit defensive with that. And then as it turned out, as it unfolded, he'd actually lost his wife. And, he was just there on his own. And he was sharing memories. When I started talking to him about his partner, his wife, he was sharing memories that he particularly enjoyed with her and the times that they had. And it was wonderful to hear. And you can tell that their vibration is shifting. In this particular case, he had a change and uplift in his voice, which was nice to hear. And so I knew that something was on the way. And at that moment, like I say, it happens very swiftly. Archangel Michael comes swooping in. And he took this gentleman back home into the world of light, into the world of spirit. And upon leaving, it happened so fast. This spirit gentleman went up through the ceiling of that building. And I heard him say, "Oh, my slipper." And he was swearing at me as well. And one of his slippers fell off and landed on the floor in the property as he got taken up there as well into the world of light. But yeah, the shock of it did make him swear at me. But later on, during that investigation, he shared his thanks and gratitude as he was reunited with his wife, and to just feel his essence, his vibration change to that high vibration was amazing. And it's a very, I would say, emotional experience, but a rewarding one, not just for the soul that you're helping, but for yourself there as well, because you do feel those emotions as they make that change and they make their exit there. And again, after doing that exercise, witnessing the change in the environment, it was the house, the inside of the house, that oppressive feeling had gone. That sense of overthinking had gone. The property felt bigger, more spacious, more relaxing. And so it was obvious, not just to myself, but to other individuals that were there with me that aren't mediums. They felt it and experienced it as well. So it was a beautiful experience. And that occurred many years ago. But it's one of those things that have always kind of stayed with me because of how beautiful it was. There's been many of these events that have happened with me. I mean, there's another occasion where I went to a private home in Derby there. They were experiencing lots of unrest, discomfort in the house, things moving, the feeling of just feeling generally downhearted and really frustrated and angry, and that sort of vibration. You could kind of feel it actually in the atmosphere. So I went again to this location, and upon walking in, I was aware that there was a spirit man there standing at the top of the stairs at this property. And he was like wearing like black sort of old oil stained clothes, like an old fashioned sort of 1920s overcoat, which was oil stained. He had a flat cap on as well that was oil stained. And he was frightened of me because he could see the light that I brought in with me. And so I communicated with him. I showed that level of respect. And I began some dialogue with him. And anyway, he kept swearing at me. So I politely said, "Okay, fair enough. I will speak to you later." And I began to investigate the rest of the property. And like I said earlier, what I do find is that they are intrigued by your energy, and they will come and have a look at what you're doing there. And so later on in that house cleanse, I think that's the best term I can call this, he came over and he was swearing at me again, but he had more of an inquiring mind. So again, I continued with that dialogue with him. And upon doing so, I told him a little bit about myself, and then that opened him up to share a bit about himself and why he was there. And we got to the point in the conversation where I was asking him what he likes, what he enjoys, what do you love, and he says, oh, I really love trains. I used to love standing in the signal box, waiting for the train, the call to come in, and then I changed the tracks so that the train could make the connection there. So this gentleman, I believe he worked on the trains, and he was like a signal operator, that sort of a gentleman, and he changed the direction of the tracks. So he really enjoyed doing that. He was very passionate. And as he was doing that, you could smell the fragrance of the smoke, from the steam trains. You could smell that in the atmosphere there. And so his voice started to change. He had an uplift in his voice, a level of excitement. So again, I kind of felt that, okay, he's going to get moved over in a minute, because you can just feel it. The atmosphere changes, the vibration changes. And at that point, right on cue, yes, Archangel Michael did come in, and he took him away into the world of light, into the world of spirit, back home, so that he could be in the bosom of his family and friends there. And in fact, that's what did occur. And again, like the previous spirit man that I helped over in Lincoln, this gentleman swore as he went, because it was quite a shock to him, because he was in the flow of his conversation. And anyway, later on after that, upon going round that property, he then came back and he thanked me, and his voice had changed. He was more like I'm talking, more calm, whereas before he was very sort of defensive. He was a little bit aggressive towards me. His mannerisms in his voice had changed, so to speak. And that's because he cut those cords to that property, to that environment. He told me that when I was having the conversation with him, that he came into that property through a portal, thinking that it was his way back home into the world of light. But in actual fact, he got stuck there and he couldn't find his way out. So upon having this, persevering with him, having this dialogue with him, it helped him to raise his consciousness, his awareness, and help him to move on into the world of light. So just a few examples there for you. So it is an important role to undertake when you're doing this, but it's very rewarding for the soul in question, obviously, and also for yourself. Just witnessing, being in the presence of that happening is hard to put into words, but it's a beautiful, beautiful moment. So I hope that gives you some inspiration and some help if you have to come across this in any of your investigations. So now we're moving into the next segment of the show, which is your channeling from the world of spirit. And this sees me becoming a vessel, so spirit can bring their communications through. They do manipulate my voice whilst they're doing this as well, so don't be alarmed when you hear that process taking place. Now, I'm very excited to hear this one back, because it is the first one of this year of 2023. So it'll be interesting to hear what inspiration, what information the world of spirit are wanting us to know at this moment in time as we move into our new year. So sit back, relax, get a pen and paper if necessary, and listen to this week's channeling from spirit.
Hello, I hope you don't mind us coming through. We wanted to discuss a lot about the changing of the seasons and how much it brings to the surface in terms of your old belief systems, your old patterns, and your old, shall we say, energies that you're carrying around with you. We wanted to bring this through to you to let you know that now is an opportune moment where you should observe these energies that are coming forward and simply understand why they're coming forward and see the lessons in the situation so that you could let this energy go in order to be healed. Then you'll feel more fragrant, more, shall we say, more energetic for your year ahead. Now, this is the reason why we're bringing this forward to you, simply because a lot of you will be experiencing changes in the up and coming 12 months. And in order for you to connect with those changes, you must realize that there's a lot of releasement that has to occur first. This releasement process is, shall we say, is not going to be as painful as what you first anticipate, simply because that you're just letting go. You're observing the energies, you're observing the information that's coming forward, and that being the case, it's an easier process for you to go through. Now, in this period of time, you will become increasingly forgetful. You will find it hard to retain information. Now, there's nothing wrong with this, simply because why would you want to clog your system up in order to slow you down, in order for you not to process information, allow it to flow through you? So being forgetful is part of the process. So if you are requiring to retain information for whatever purpose that may be, we would certainly advise that you take a notepad and paper, pen and paper, shall we say, and just write things down, and then you've got them to refer to, and that way you can go out without losing that piece of information. You can carry out your daily duties. But we want to tell you that you are going to experience periods of time where you become forgetful, and this is the reason. The reason being that you're a clear vessel of love and light and laughter and harmony. And if you clog that vessel up with too much information, it becomes an issue. It slows down the proceedings. So don't see it as an obstacle. See it as an unfoldment in order for you to be that vessel of light, to work on your dimension, on the earth plane. Now, what we do recommend is you will observe that there's going to be some new alternative ideas that are going to be given to you. Now, when we say the word alternative, we're referring to ideas, concepts that may not all be aligning with you. You've never heard these concepts before. They may appear slightly alien to you, and you'll have thoughts along the way about, well, I've never done that before. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why am I doing this? Why am I being inspired to do this? And we say that we would like you to trust this experience, because in doing so, you will actually make life a lot simpler, a lot easier for yourself. And that's why we're bringing forward this alternative information. It goes against everything you've been taught, for sure it does. But long term, it will move you in the higher frequency dimension. So be aware of that occurring in your life. You may understand that a lot of you are going through, shall we say, elements of turmoil where your feelings, your emotions and relationships are coming to the surface. You may feel slightly numb, a little bit disconnected from those brothers and sisters around you. Also, those souls that you felt strongly connected to on a romantic and heartfelt basis before. You may find yourself feeling slightly dejected from that situation. This is simply because you are aligning and coming into your own vibration. And so those people will have to match you and be in a line with you rather than you chasing after them. This is not an exercise in your fleshing your ego out, you must understand. This is an exercise in you tuning to universal energies, and that's why we thought we'd bring that forward in case you thought there was something missing or incorrect with the way that you've been behaving, not being as emotional as you once were. We want to tell you that this is occurring, like we say, for the betterment of the greater good of all, allowing you all to experience the old belief systems and then realize that they don't longer align with you anymore. So you're going to release those and let them go. And this new vibration that comes through will allow you all to connect on a soul-based frequency. So you will all start to notice changes when this does occur, that you'll be connected to the collective mind. You'll feel what everybody's experiencing on an empathic basis. You'll also think on the similar lines with your vibrational frequency, and you'll know what the other party is thinking, what the other party is experiencing on an emotional level. And so you will use that degree of empathy when you are connecting with other beings on your earthbound creation. There's a lot to consider, and we understand that this information is kind of thrown at you in a quick objective, but we want you to know that the information that we're sharing with you will unfold with you over the next 3 to 4 months. And so it will happen incrementally in order for not to overwhelm you, scare you, or intimidate you in any way, shape, or form. But there's going to be significant changes when you go through this experience. Like we say, you will all notice that you are all connected, and your emotions, your thoughts, the vibrations that you carry will emit a frequency, and others will pick up on that, just as you will pick up on theirs, and so on and so forth. And so this greater understanding of one another will help you bond a new relationship with your humanity, whereas before you separated and went into different pockets of society. Whereas this time you're all going to feel the energy, and for some of you that are increasingly sensitive, it will become most definitely overwhelming for you, and you will find that you're having to take time out away from society, next to nature, or in your own sanctuary within your home, in order for you to calibrate the mind, body, and spirit, so that you can carry on being that natural-born leader that you are, helping others to revert back to the light and the truth of who they are. So don't be alarmed by this change in vibration. Like we say, it is going to occur over the next 3 to 4 months, and it's going to happen incrementally, so not to alarm or overwhelm you, but you will notice the changes nevertheless. And in doing so, it will help you navigate your way through your life more so than ever. Whereas you've had doubts in your past about what path for you to take, or what choice for you to take, or with whom you wish to spend your time and share your beautiful soul and heart with, this time round you'll be feeling that vibration, and you'll have an in-depth knowing of what you're meant to be doing and with whom you're meant to be doing it with. You will just know, and there will be no doubt in your mind whatsoever that that is what you have to do. So those of you that are going through a period of time where your mind is slightly empty and you're not feeling those emotions, those connectivities in your heart, allowing you to become one with others that you feel closer to and dear to, we want to say that this is happening in order to prepare you more so, as you're going to be more increasingly sensitive than what you're experiencing at this moment. Like we say, you may feel blank, you may feel numb inside, but this is a good thing. It's a good thing to let those old belief systems go in order to flourish in the way of the love and the light that you're all going to encounter. So just go with the energy, be gentle with yourself, and show yourself that love and appreciation that you so want to give and share with others, and that you have done in the past. Now is the time for you to appreciate who you are and the storyline and the struggles that you've been through, in order for you to be in your here and now moments. When you appreciate that, then that's when your life can flux and change in a positive and flourishing direction, and it will occur very rapidly once you realize this. So to summarize, your year beginning of 2023 will be a fantastic one of unfoldment, one of aligning, and one of following your truth, a truth that can no longer be denied by yourself or others anymore. This truth will reign supreme and will be your paramount focus in every moment of your life. So that's what we've come over in this transmission to talk to you about. We do hope the information has found you well, and that you've made some sense out of it, as we wanted to bring it through swift, fast, in order for you to digest, or at least feel the vibration within this communication that we are sharing with you. We hope it finds you well and gives you that sense of ease, grace, and purpose as you navigate your way through your new year of 2023. We'd like to end this transmission with a little bit of sound healing treatment in order to shift your vibration that little bit further so it helps you align with this vibrational change in the atmosphere that we're speaking of today. So sit back, relax, and absorb these frequencies that we're going to bring through in 1 second.
Wow, what a fantastic communication there from the world of spirit. And some amazing information that came through. The fact that we need to release some of the old energies that maybe we've clung on to for quite some time now, to give us that release, if you like, and free us up in order to accept the new version of ourselves that is wanting to emerge. Also, by doing that, being the observer, watching the process, and in doing so, that's a very healing element of it in itself, isn't it? So it was nice to hear that, and that we're giving back to ourselves by becoming the observer, being that personal healer, if you like, as well. So that was interesting to find that out, and also forgetting things as well. I'm sure most of you have gone through a period of time where you've become increasingly forgetful, and it was very interesting to learn that this is part of the process. You know, why hold on to information that's going to clog you up, from being a pure channel, a pure vessel? I found that particularly interesting as well. And obviously, with not being clogged up, we're allowing new inspiration to come in to help guide us, to help push us forward on our pathway there. So that was increasingly very interesting there. And notice where we are and who we're communicating with, and notice that interaction changing as we evolve as individuals. I found that particularly interesting, and following our heart there as well is paramount through all of this process, by the sounds of things, because that's when we do that, that's going to help us to connect with others and the truth of who they are on a much more deeper level there. So some very interesting information in this communication, and appreciate who we are as individuals. Now, that is very important, isn't it? Obviously, when we recognize the things that we've gone through within our life, we've recognized that the healing we've had to do, and we understand that we are evolving beings. And it's a case of being the observer in that situation, understanding that we are shifting, we are changing, we're evolving, and to show that level of love and respect for ourselves through the process will in actual fact help us to move a lot swiftly and with ease and grace through that transitional period, which will make the process a whole lot smoother, a whole lot easier for us to navigate our way through. But what I did like at the end of this transmission was the sound healing. I thought that was phenomenal. And I hope that you all that were listening received that energetic information that was transmitted through that sound healing. I know I certainly did. Upon listening back to it for the very first time since doing that channeling, I was aware of my heart chakra opening up. I felt this sense of peace, this sense of grace within myself. I also got chills from my head right down to my toes there, almost as if my chakras were being aligned whilst listening to that and feeling that vibration. And it's almost as if it was getting a flush through, a clearing out to enable for me personally to work at a more clearer, cleaner and high vibrational state there as well. Definitely, I felt the higher vibrations within that sound healing treatment there at the end, and it felt very empowering as I went. And well, I say as I went, I simply aligned with that sound healing, and I allowed it to occur. Now, at one time, and I'm sure I don't speak for myself when I say this, when I used to hear sound healing treatment, I wouldn't let it in. I would just hear the sounds. Now, it goes beyond just hearing the sounds, and I'm sure those of you that are awake and aware would have realized this, that when those sounds were playing there in that sound healing section, that you would have felt that energy. You're allowing that vibration to flow through you. And you see, it becomes more of an experience rather than an audible experience, if that makes sense. It hits you on all of your senses. So I'm very grateful to have gone through that process with you all as upon listening back to that transmission there from Spirit. So I'm very, very grateful for them for bringing that, and how apt it is of a time when we all need to recognize that we are changing, we're evolving into our new year ahead. So we're going to move on to the next section now, which is your weekly energy forecast reading for this week. And so this one will be the first one of 2023. So I do hope the information aligns with you and helps you navigate your way into the new year of 2023. Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to 2023. My name is Glenn Boddice, and I'm a spiritual medium. And this is for this week's energy forecast reading for the week commencing Monday, the 2nd of January, 2023. Now, those of you that have watched me work and do this before will know that I consult the wisdom of my spirit guides and helpers, and also consult the wisdom of the angel tarot cards. So what I'm about to do is shuffle the pack and allow a card to come out at random, and right on cue, one has just done that. So here is your card for this week's forecast reading. There we go. I'm now going to link into the energy of that card and bring forward some additional information for you for this week. Straight away, I'm being told that there's going to be a lot of you watching this that are going to start and be setting boundaries with your time and your energy. And with doing so, you will also feel more empowered. You'll also feel like you can start and put your dreams into action. However, you will be feeling around you other people's energy, and you'll be picking up on people that aren't necessarily as sincere as the energy that they offer out in doing so. So with this being the case, you're going to trust your hunches a little bit more with the people that are around you. And you're going to move yourself away from people, or maybe a collective group of people that have pull your vision down, pull your energies down, and stop you from being the brightest star in the sky that you are destined to be. So watch out for that energy this week. Also, you will be spending some time alone throughout this week in order for you to get your head and your emotions clear. Now, with this being the case, it's telling you that the universe is giving you this time in order for you to plan out your year ahead in your mind, in yourself emotionally, so that you can then go about your journey and start and focus your clear intentions on your manifesting your life in the way that you see fit for it to be this year of 2023. With this being the case as well, you're going to be more sensitive. Being more increasingly sensitive will also have an impact on other areas of your life, romantically being one of them. What you did accept at one time, now you're starting to detract away from those energies that don't align with you anymore. And you're picking up other people, maybe your partner, maybe your intended, you're picking up on their vibration. And there's certain elements of that that aren't aligning with you anymore. And so you're going to, again, going back to what we said earlier, set boundaries around these vibrations. There's also going to be changes in your dietary requirements. You'll find that there's certain foods and drinks that will have a bit of a reaction in your physical body. And rather than soldiering on, you're going to be more knowledgeable of the effects of what this is doing to your physical body. So in essence, you're going to turn that around. You're going to take note, and you're going to stop having these foods or drinks that are causing you to feel less than your 100% health. Also, watch out for interruptions with your sleeping patterns as well this week, as you will find yourself going to bed feeling exhausted, feeling shattered, yet you go to bed, you're lying there and you're wide awake and you're finding it difficult to switch the brain off and go to sleep. So if this is the case with you, then focus on your breathing, slow the breathing down, and maybe focus. You've heard of people talk about counting sheep. Well, maybe that's not as silly as it sounds. Maybe just counting the breath work as you're slowing the breathing down will help you to relax, switch the mind off, and get that necessary rest that you need. So let's turn the card over and go through that with you. At the top of the card, it says 9 of air. So I'd like you to research the angel number of number 9, as that will offer you some additional support and information. My guides are also telling me 9 lives as well. Like they say, a cat has 9 lives, 9 lives. So with that in mind, it means that this will be a new life for you in the year of 2023. And so you should feel very content, very lucky, and very happy as you start the beginning to 2023. Now, air to me represents the thinning of the veil between this world and the spirit world. And obviously, with that being the case, you're going to be more aware of it. So if you do hear sounds that aren't necessarily part of the building, or if you do see colors, or you do see flashes of light or images coming out the side of your peripheral vision, then this is you observing the world of spirit visitors popping in to encourage you and to say hello. So don't be fearful of that. See this as a wonderful opportunity that you're now shifting your vibration. At the bottom of the card, it says negativity, worry, and sleeplessness. Wow, we was just talking about that earlier, wasn't we? But with this being the case, I feel as though it's telling you that the negativity, the old version of you would have dwelled upon that and would have worried and would try to work it out. Whereas the new version of you, the version of you that is in 2023, is going to recognize those patterns, those old belief systems, and you're going to stop giving that your time and energy. And with you doing so as well, it is actually going to help you to regain your sleeping patterns, getting them back on track, recognizing that these are just old belief patterns, old belief systems. And now you've moved into a new year, you're going to start and recognize that and start and focus your attention into what you want to manifest, into how you want to design your life for this year. So with this being the case, just go with the flow, do the breath work, and this will allow you to get that rest that you need. Looking into the artwork, we have blue around the edging of the card. That would indicate emotions of yours coming to the surface and that you're going to be more aware of them. With this being the case, also blue represents the throat chakra. It's telling you to be more vocal about these emotions. Speak up, stop harboring them, stop giving them time inside of your energy, and start sharing that information. Once you do that, you allow that old version of you to go and to be healed and released, so that the new version of you can enter and be expressed in your now moments. Looking into the artwork, we have 9 swords there at the front of this bed. No, the swords would indicate cutting cords to your past that no longer serves you, removing those energies away, and knowing that you're safe and protected by doing that. And with you doing that, you're allowing yourself to be more free and follow that sense of bliss from your heart as well. Looking also in the artwork, we've got this bed there. We've got this masculine energy that's holding his head in his hands and looking rather restless. With this being the case, the bed is indicating rest for you. You do need plenty of rest. And also, as you can see, the bedding on the bed is the colour of blue. So that would indicate that it is emotions, the old belief systems that are keeping you awake. You're overthinking them rather than trying to figure them out. Just see them for what they are and then release them, let them go. And when I say let them go, I'm referring to you not giving your time or energy or attention to those belief systems. Just knowing that they're there, say, oh, it's there, yeah. And then that's it. Just let it go. Let it go like that. The masculine energy is wanting to take charge, is wanting to have that leadership role. And on this occasion, is telling you just to sit back a little bit and see things for what they are. Stop putting the blinkers on, and then you can release that energy and let it go in order to bring in the blessings for you. Now, in the background on this artwork, we've got 3 images there, 3 pictures. And when they're all separate, but when we put them together, to me, it represents an angel there hovering over you, looking after you and making sure that you have that healing and that support. We also mentioned earlier about the world of spirit drawing in close. So this would indicate that they are doing that. And also with them being in picture form, this would also indicate that they're going to try and help you, try and inspire you by showing you images in your mind's eye or seeing repetitive images whilst you're out and about doing your daily today duties. So watch out for those inspirations there. And as you can see, there's a light that's been left on. So it's telling you to follow that inner light, that wisdom, that light vibration coming from the essence of who you truly are in your heart chakra. So that's what I'm picking up for you for this week. I do hope that resonates and aligns with you. Thank you for liking, hearting, commenting and sharing. It's very much appreciated by myself, my spirit team and helpers. If you've enjoyed what you've seen on here today, I am available for one-to-one private readings or 12-month recorded forecast readings for your year ahead. Also, I have a radio show that features every Monday on pulsetalkradio.com. The show is called From Beyond with Glenn Boddice, and it starts at 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And so if you want to tune in, it'd be wonderful to see you there. In the meantime, I've been Glenn Boddice. Have a wonderful new year. Sending all my love and blessings to you and your family. God bless and take care. Thank you. Well, it sounds we're all set for an interesting first week of 2023, doesn't it? I hope the information that was channeled through does align with you and helps you in some small way throughout the course of your week this week. But thank you once again for tuning in to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. I hope the first one of 2023 has helped you, has whetted your appetite, so to speak, spiritually speaking, and is going to help you throughout the course of your year ahead. Now, if you do have any show suggestions, any ideas, or if you have any stories of paranormal or self-help or any guidance that you're wanting to share with the audience, it would be absolutely wonderful to hear from you, either if you're wanting to come on the show as a guest or if you're wanting me to read out your story and share that with the listeners. Then by all means, please do get in touch at www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com or at my email address, glennboddice@live.co.uk. It will be absolutely fantastic to have that interaction with you and to share that story with the listeners there, because that's what it's all about on this show. It's about sharing is caring, and it's going to empower and help everybody that interacts with this show. So whatever it is you're doing throughout the course of this week, I hope that you're doing it with a new sense of ease and grace, and you're not pushing yourself too much. You're recognizing that you are the observer and that you are the creator, all in the same moment. So I hope that you're doing you're having a wonderful week this week. And remember, you can listen to this show every week at 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on pulsetalkradio.com. The show is called From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. And as you've witnessed, we talk about all things spiritual, paranormal, self-help, and development as well. So I wish you all the best, sending all my love, healing, and blessings to your family, friends, and loved ones during this time. See you same place, same time next week. God bye and God bless. Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium